Hey mathematics learners, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. So on today's video tutorial, guys, we're going to be going through question 1.3 from the grade 12 mathematical literacy paper 1 that was written in June 2023. And question 1.3, guys, deals with data handling because we're going to be basically analyzing this line graph that is given to us. Okay, so this is a nice, still very easy question. As long as you make sure that you focus your attention on the correct graph, you'll be fine. Okay, very easy, 9 marks. Okay, so before we get started with the video tutorial, guys, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure that you click on that notification bell so that you get notified every single time I upload a video tutorial, guys. And also please don't forget to give all these video tutorials a huge thumbs up, because it really helps the channel grow and helps the channel to reach more learners that want to better their mathematics marks. Also, guys, if you really want to support the channel and you appreciate the work that I'm doing for you guys here, guys, please also consider becoming a member. It's only 19 Rand and 99 cents. Okay, that's just the monthly fee that you pay. And the perks of being a member is that you get to see all the video tutorials earlier than your non-members. Okay, so if I basically upload a video tutorial like this one that I'm going to upload, I'm gonna basically set it to premiere at 6 p.m. But as a member, you'll get to basically watch that video tutorial earlier. So you get to watch all the video tutorials a bit earlier than non-members. So please, guys, consider being a member and support the channel so that we can really just help this channel grow. Okay, so without any further ado, guys, let's get started with today's video tutorial. In today's video tutorial, guys, we're going to be tackling question 1.3 from the grade 12 mathematical literacy paper 1 that was written in June 2023. And here, guys, we are just going to be interpreting these line graphs that are given to us. Okay, all right, so let's get started. It says that the line graph below shows the official and expanded unemployment rates for 2021 for all the provinces in South Africa. We need to note that the expanded unemployment rate includes the statistics of unemployed persons not looking for employment or trying to become self-employed, and the total labor force includes all those who are employable, including the unemployed. Okay, so you're basically given the meanings of the expanded unemployment rate as well as the total labor force. Okay, so when they talk about the expanded unemployment rates, they're basically saying that that includes the statistics of people that are unemployed and not looking for employment, or people that are unemployed trying to become self-employed. So they're probably trying to start their own businesses and so on and so forth. Okay, and then when they talk about the total labor force or the official, right, they are basically talking about those who are employable, including those that are unemployed. Okay, so that's basically that. We are told that these two line graphs here represent the official and expanded unemployment rates for 2021 for all the provinces in South Africa. Okay, we are given that on the y-axis we've got the percentages. Okay, and then on the x-axis we've got the 9 provinces. Okay, then we are also given a key here at the bottom left, right, where we've got the lines, the broken lines. Okay, that represents the official unemployment rate for 2021, and then the solid lines, okay, here, this represents the expanded unemployment rate. Okay, so you need to basically take note of that. Also here, what's important for you guys to note, né? For the official unemployment rate line graph, okay, do you notice that they haven't put the values or the percentages at the top, right? Okay, so when we basically answering these questions, please don't now try and approximate the answers. Let's say, for example, they ask you what was the highest percentage of the official unemployment rates for 2021. Okay, and then we can see here that, okay, this was the highest value for your official, this value here. don't now try and go off and try to read off this value here and say, okay, this is between 40 and 50, maybe it's 45. No, we don't do that, okay? Why? Because we are given here the actual values here at the bottom. Do you see that? So even though they haven't included the value there, they've basically given us these values here, okay? So we know that, okay, for the official, the highest value was actually, it's this one here, it's 43.8%. So don't try and be reading off these values because they're not given to us. So you don't have to do that. Just look down on your x-axis. We are given what the actual value is. Okay, so that's just also another tip. Try to analyze, always analyze your line graphs. Look at what's given, all right? So that you don't now go and make unnecessary mistakes. Okay, so I think we're ready to have a look at the questions that are given to us. Let's get started. It says, use the graph above to answer the questions that follow. Question 1.3.1 says, write down the province with the A, highest expanded unemployment rate. Like I mentioned, with mathematical literacy, always have your highlighters ready. Always try to draw your attention to what the question is actually asking you. There's always keywords that you'll get from the question, okay? Most of the time, why most people fail mathematical literacy is because you're not reading the questions properly, you're not highlighting the keywords, and that's basically it. And obviously, you're not practicing, you're not studying, you don't have a great tutor, okay? But most of the time, you're not reading the questions properly, and you're not highlighting the keywords, okay? So here, for question 1.3.1, what is the keywords here, okay? We want the highest, and we're going to be focusing on the expanded unemployment rate. Okay, so we're going to go on to our expanded unemployment rate line graph, which is this one. I'm going to highlight it in red, okay? So we're going to focus on the expanded unemployment rate, and then we need to write down the province that has the highest, right? So we're going to look here. Which value is the highest? Is it 49.6? Okay, so because I'm seeing it's either this value or that value. Okay, so luckily because we're given what the actual percentage is, we can see that, okay, actually the province with the highest expanded unemployment rate, right, is the Eastern Cape. Okay, right, because we see that the Eastern Cape had an expanded unemployment rate of 49.6%. Oh, yeah, 49.6%, which was the highest. Okay, so here, don't make the mistake of just writing 49.6%. Okay, they wanted the province with the highest expanded rate. Okay, so the province is the Eastern Cape. Okay, so the province with the highest expanded unemployment rate was the Eastern Cape. Let's have a look at the next question, 1.3.1b. Okay, it says, we still need to go back. Write down the province with the smallest difference between the official unemployment rate and the expanded unemployment rate. Okay, so here you want to basically look for a province that has the smallest. So highlight the keyword, okay, that has the smallest difference between the official unemployment rate and the expanded unemployment rate. So here we're going to be actually looking at these two line graphs, okay? And a nice tip here, the way I thought of this question is that you basically want to find the province that has the smallest gap between these two, okay? Because if you've got a smallest difference, that means that we want to have a small gap between these two line graphs, okay? I hope you guys are getting me. The province that has the smallest gap between these two line graphs. Okay, so here we can just simply use the process of elimination. Okay, obviously where you've got like a bigger gap between these two line graphs, I mean, it's not going to be that province, because we see here this gap here, it's too big, it can't be that one. This gap here is too big, it can't be that one. The gap between this one and that, it can't be KZN, it can't be Northwest. Do you see that the gap between these two provinces is too big, right? The gap between, okay, it's too big, if you guys are following with me. Yeah? But then we see that the gap between here and here, do you see that? It's a smaller gap, okay? So we can probably just compare between this one and this one, all right? Okay, so from here, we can see that, okay, what is the difference between these ones and this one? So if you're not sure, you can probably just check, right? So let's check with the Eastern Cape, because you can see that there's a small gap between that and that. There's a small gap, but you can already see that the Western Cape is actually the province with the smallest difference between the official and the expanded. Okay, but you can also just check that. Okay, how can you check that? Whether it's either the Western Cape or it's the Eastern Cape, right? You can just take, because you want the smallest difference. So you already know that you're going to be subtracting the two percentages from each other. Okay, let's just start with the Western Cape. Okay, let's start with the Western Cape. So it's going to be 27.9%. Okay, the difference. It's going to be 27.9% minus, right, 23.7%. Okay. So if you take 27.9% and you minus 23.7%, guys, just type in 27.9 minus 23.7, you get 4.2%. Okay. Let's just check with the Eastern Cape, because we see that it also has a small gap there. In case we're not sure, you can just check it like that, right? What are the values? What are the percentages for the Eastern Cape, right? We already know that for your expanded, it was 49.6%, minus for your official, it is 43.8%. Okay, I'm just doing this for people that don't see what I mean. So if you take 49.6 minus 43.8, you'll see that the difference was actually 5.8%. So we already see that actually the Western Cape has the smallest difference between the official employment rate and the expanded unemployment rate. Okay, so a nice and simple way for you to just look at it is that which province had the smallest gap, right? And then that's why I already mentioned that we can see that there's actually a smaller gap here, right? Between the official and the expanded, okay, in the Western Cape province. So that is the province that has the smaller gap between the official and the expanded. Okay, or you can just look at it like this, where you just have to minus the two percentages from each other, and whichever value gives you the lowest percentage, that is the province that has the lowest or the smallest difference between the official and the expanded unemployment rate. Okay, so that's how you get to the answer. But a nice quick way to just look at it is just look at the gap. Which one has the smaller gap? Okay, and then for us, we saw that the province that had the smallest difference was actually what? The Western Cape. All right, let's have a look at the next question. Question 1.3.2, it says, determine which province represents the modal official unemployment rate. Okay, so this question might be a bit tricky. Okay, you guys know when you're basically dealing with data handling, when we talk about the mode, we are talking about the value that occurs the most. Yeah? So a nice way for me to try and explain this concept to you guys, right? Like for example, let me just do this. This is question 1.3.2. Okay. We know that when we're basically working with ungrouped data, let's say I say to you guys, the following values represent the different percentages that the 5 students obtained for their maths lit class test. Okay, so the percentages are: one learner got 5%, 25%, another learner got 30%, another one got 30%, another one got 45%. This group is failing, right? And one learner got 85%. Okay, so if I had to ask you, what is the modal value? What is the mode? Okay, we'd say that, okay, the value that appears the most is 30%. So that is the mode. Okay, but then, however, in this case, right, they're asking you which province contains or represents the modal official unemployment rate. Okay, so when you actually look at the information here, right, this information basically shows the percentage of the data that was basically collected. Okay, it doesn't represent the individual values of the population. I don't know if you guys get me. So you can't really say that there is a modal value. Okay, because here for Eastern Cape, right, if they're saying what is the province with the modal official unemployment rate, there's only, I mean, you can either give it's Eastern Cape or it's Free State or it's Gauteng. But then for all of this, we're not shown how they came about or how they got the percentage of 43.8. So we can't really see what the modal value was, right? Okay, so there's no modal value here. Okay, there is no modal. Okay, so in this case, there is no modal value. Okay, so I hope you guys get me here. Okay, when we talk about mode, we talk about a value that occurs the most. Okay, in this case, they want us to determine the province, okay, or which province represents the modal official unemployment rate. Okay, so we don't see any value that's basically occurring the most here. Okay, and another thing, if we're focusing on a particular province that has the modal official unemployment rate, we're not given the individual values or how they got to that percentage. Okay, so there's no modal value. So I hope you guys get me here. There is no modal value. Okay, so that is our answer. No mode or no province. Okay. All right, and let's have a look at question 1.3.3. It says the total labor force for the Free State was 918,000 in 2021. Calculate the number of officially unemployed people in the Free State. Yet again, guys, you need to highlight here. Okay, if you're not going to highlight, if you're not going to draw your eyes, if you're not going to draw your attention on the keywords, you are going to be confused. Okay, so let's try and draw our eyes on the keywords so that we understand what is this question telling us or asking us. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on which province? We're going to be focusing on the Free State province. Okay, so we are going to have our attention on the Free State province. All right, and we are told that the total labor force. Okay, so which line graph are we going to be focusing on? Okay, are we going to be focusing on the expanded or are we going to be focusing on the official? We're going to be focusing on the official. Okay, so that is what we're going to be focusing on. I'm going to just highlight it in red. Okay, that is the value that we're going to be focusing on. That 35.6%. Okay, so we are told that the total labor force for the Free State was 918,000 in 2021. Now we need to calculate the number of officially unemployed people in the Free State. Okay, so we already know when we were given the information here about the total labor force, that's the official, né? We were told that it includes all those who are employable, including the unemployed. Okay, but this question is telling us that the total labor force for the Free State was that amount. Okay, this percentage of 35.6% represents the number of people that are unemployed. Okay, so how can we calculate the number of officially unemployed people in the Free State? Okay, so we already know that 35.6%, it represents the people that are basically unemployed in the Free State. Okay, this 918,000 represents the total labor force for the Free State. And out of that total, 35.6% of that 918,000 is unemployed. So like I mentioned, let's write that into a mathematical equation, right? Okay, we already know that we want to determine the number of people that are basically unemployed. Okay, so we already were given that. Out of that total of 918,000, okay, those are the total people or the total labor force for the Free State. Okay, and we already know that 35.6% of this amount of 918,000 is what? Unemployed. All right, so we literally took that statement, okay, we wrote it down. 35% of the 918,000 are people that are unemployed, right? So remember, here, all that we need to do now is we need to now change this word problem, okay, into a mathematical equation, right? So 35.6%, that's the same as saying 35.6. Remember, if it's a percentage, we are just dividing that value by 100, okay? When we see of, you multiplied by 918,000 to get the number of people that are, okay, the number of unemployed persons. Okay, so all that we need to do now, we need to just punch this into your calculator. So if you punch this into your calculator, you'll get that 326,808 people in the Free State were officially unemployed. Okay, so for question 1.3.3, right, we're given the percentage of the people that are unemployed. So we now wanted to basically work with this actual value of the total people or the total labor force, right, to basically find out what was the actual value of the people in the Free State that were officially unemployed. Okay, so that is it for question 1.3.3. I hope I didn't lose anyone there, right? But it's still very nice and easy. All that you need to do, like I mentioned, is just highlight the keywords, okay? Highlight the keywords, guys. I can't stress this enough. That is how you're going to draw your attention to what the question is actually asking you, okay? Because sometimes a sentence like this can be a bit tricky, okay? Especially if you haven't highlighted. At least when you highlight, you can start to basically pinpoint what the question is trying to tell you. Most especially if English is not your home language. It can be hard for you to answer such questions. So that is why it's very important that you highlight the important keywords so that you try and basically focus your attention on what the question is asking you. Okay, and guys, that is it for question 1.3. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys on the next video tutorial. In the next video tutorial, we're going to be starting off with question 2.1. Question 2.1 is nice. It's fun. We're going to be analyzing an invoice, right? So there's a booking reservation that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be calculating an amount excluding VAT. We're going to be simplifying ratios. We're going to be canceling bookings. It's a nice question, okay? And it's a great add to the video tutorials that I've done for you guys on financial documents, because I haven't really done an invoice. So this is an amazing add to the list of tutorials that I've done for you guys on financial documents. So that is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload. That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload, Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.